All right. What's going on, guys? We're going to be going live tonight. I'm joining in with Eric Henderson in a second here. He's going to be joining me on our video. Really excited to bring you guys some fun information tonight, some content, and hopefully bring this to you each and every week. Let me connect in Eric here when he's ready. So I'll let you guys kind of jump on here. What's happening, Brian? How are you, man? All right, so we're just going to give Eric a second here to join us. He's going to jump on with us in a second. Good to hear from you, Brian. Hey, Crystal. All right, so give Eric a second here, but we're going to be really just sharing with you guys some of our thoughts. We're mixed entrepreneurs here with some fun, exciting things to hope to share with you guys. Things are going well, Brian. Hope things are going well with you as well. Going to add Eric here in a second. All right, hang on a second. There you are, Eric. I'm going to add you in now. Okay. All right, Eric's joining us right now. We're going to jump on. There he is. All right, sir, you made it. Doing good. All right. Absolutely. Yeah, I can hear you great. This is excellent.
All right. I'm excited.
So we were just chit-chatting a little bit, and we've been talking the past few weeks and past few months, honestly, and connecting. And we got to a point recently where we're like, you know what, we need to be creating and connecting weekly and using Facebook Live more often, and hopefully sharing our, some thoughts, our experiences, our ups and downs, our challenges with other people, and hopefully, inspire others with just, the reality of entrepreneurship, the reality of being a dad, being a husband, being an employee, whatever it is. So, real quick, some introductions, because this video is going to be saved for later too. So for those of you who don't know us, real quick, my name is Greg Sherwin. I am an entrepreneur. I am a digital marketer. I am also a business owner with shop.com. I'm also a full-time employee and running the marketing department of an architecture firm in Massachusetts, as well as starting to invest in real estate. So all over the map, crazy busy. And as Eric and I were talking about a few minutes ago, finding those times to switch it on, switch it off, and figure out how to adjust throughout your day can become interesting, but a lot of fun. So Eric, real quick, your backgrounds, people know who you are too.
Yeah. So just kind of like Greg, entrepreneur for over 20 years since I was 19 years old. Ups and downs, right? Greg and I have talked about that the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. Had traditional businesses, meaning lots of risk, lots of overhead, and then also have some digital entrepreneurship and things like that I do. And very passionate about entrepreneurship. And I think that's really why we decided to just kind of say, hey, let's jump on a weekly Facebook Live and talk about how to bring this, keep it to a practical level. Yeah. I don't know if, Greg, if you felt that way, but we've talked a lot about that. People today, you hear a lot of people want to have their own business. They want to talk about entrepreneurship, but where do you go and learn about it? And I only kind of segue into that because today I think of myself more as an educator than an entrepreneur, right? Or an educator first, then an entrepreneur. And so I'm very excited about the series we're doing because I think the world needs some more voices out there that don't always talk about the glitz and glamour, but can talk about the practicalities of it, but how to also do it and how to succeed. Make sense?
Totally. And that's the goal, Eric. I know it's funny because we started to dive into each other's backgrounds and all things that we were doing after one of our live sessions we had recently, like last month. We had an awesome jam session, you and I, afterwards for like an hour, just discussing all sorts of strategy and everything. And it was just a moment where we were like, you know what, we need to do something together, and we need to find a way to bring value to those who are in the same stages as us, or just beginning, or haven't even gotten started yet. And how do we give people just like, us, the opportunity to, learn, grow, how do we help people to, from our own experiences, share with them what's worked, what hasn't worked, but most importantly, as you said, really from the practical level. This isn't going to be about the jets and the flights and the hotels and all this fancy stuff. It's going to be about the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day, the challenges, how to weave it into being, like you said, being a dad. And so we're going to have topics about that, how to kind of have that family life balance, and how to switch it off, how to switch it on, to make sure that you're not only covering and growing in your professional life, but you're continuing to grow and keep your relationship strong with your family as well too. And it's so important, because as you start to wear more hats, you start to forget where that family hat is sometimes. You got to make sure that that's number one all the time, because that's most important. That's why you're doing what you're doing, right?
Yes. So true.
So we talked a little bit, Eric, before this too, and just understanding, like, there's so many different channels out there to get content and to like learn about entrepreneurship or about business. What's your goal with doing this together? I mean, what were you thinking kind of going into this that hopefully we can help other people with?
Yeah, that's really the most important question, right? So someone's watching this and they're saying, listen, I already tune into this, or I already have so much on my plate. I'm already information overwhelmed. I can't take in any more information. And Greg and I were talking about, we understand the last thing any of us need is more information. What we right? I mean, there's a quote I read recently, and it said that we're thirsty for knowledge, but drowning in information. And there's a lot of truth to that. So Greg and I think we've talked about this. One of our missions, one of our goals with this was to say, hey, listen, if we have felt overwhelmed and we've made this entrepreneurship thing work, okay, and I have 20 years behind me, what's somebody who's going through that? What are they feeling, and who do you listen to? The best word I comes to mind when I think about this show we're going to do sort of is like discernment. We're going to help people discern, like what should they do now? Where's the best thing now to move that needle in your life or in your business? Instead of feeling like, okay, I just got another fire hose of information, what do I do? So our goal, I kind of took some notes here, but I think one of the goals would really be to bring about, well, first off, right, we talked about asking the folks that join us here, because it's really not about us, it's about the community. What is your number one challenge? What do you need help with? What do you want to discuss? And then we can sort of, does that make sense, to sort of customize the show a little bit toward how to help the folks to tune in, and we learn just as much by teaching it, right? 100%. So that's kind of my.
I'll say it now. I'll say it later on. Yeah, I'll say it later in the video too. But comment below if you're watching right now. If you're having a challenge in business or in life, if you're juggling multiple hats and multiple things and trying to figure out what's the right next step for you, comment below, and hopefully it's going to be a topic we'll cover, or we'll cover your topic specifically on an episode like this, or even do a short segment on it to hopefully help you as well. Because if it's going to help you, I'm sure it's going to help many other people too, which is really our goal with this. Is that we believe that the topics we're going to cover here are going to help a lot of people in different ways. And hopefully, feel free to share your voice and your opinion down here too in the comments.
Yeah, that's great. And I think too, we want to create the feeling of people to be able to say, oh, I'm not alone. Yeah. They feel that way too, or they're going through that as well. Right. And here's how to move through that. 100%. And I think that's important, because sometimes it's just the littlest things that you can do. It's a little hinge that swings the big doors that makes all the difference. And it's just having that experience. So I think that's the first thing to say on if you're watching this live, or if you're just jumping on here, is this is going to be something that's going to shorten your list of things you need to do, and lessen the overwhelm. And it's going to be at a very relatable level. It's going to be a very practical level. One quick thing I'll say is, I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm a dadpreneur, but I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I have a lot of responsibilities outside of just my passion for what I do for my businesses. So, but I figured out how to make that work. Because what good is a business, right, Greg? We've said this, if you lose your lifestyle, or you lose your family, or the balance. Yeah. So that's another thing to talk about.
And what's most important too is what we want to do is not just talk about that we do that, but talk about how we do it, and actually talk about the strategy. The literally hour to hour. What is that progression? Like we were just talking about on the phone a little while ago. you know, you were just playing with your kids, playing some games, hanging out, being a dad, and then we transitioned into kind of pulling this together tonight. And so that's it. Like, we want this to be real. Like, what's the reality of it, you know? And I was just working on some business finance stuff before jumping on, and then transitioned to this totally separate topic. And before that, I was out traveling for work. And so it's like, and then you have dinner after that, you know? So it's like, you're a human, you're human. And that's what I want to get across is like, you know, I love a lot of people who are on Facebook and social media, and they have incredible information to share with people, and they have successful businesses, and they're amazing. But the challenge sometimes is you don't see all of the in-betweens, and you don't realize that you can achieve it too. And what it takes is yes, there's sacrifice, but it's totally worth it. And it's just a matter of figuring out what is it that you want to create, and knowing that whatever the scale is, you can go after it as long as you build and you're consistent and you have the focus on carving out the pieces that, you know, we talk about sometimes too, is like the things that are just distractions, if you will. Like, carve those things out and focus on your goal and go after it. And so we'll have a lot of different topics. I'm really excited that we're going to make this a weekly episode. Each and every week, bring a new topic to the table to share with you all. And hopefully you guys can share a topic below in the comments that you want us to cover, because we'd be happy to do that and talk. And most definitely, almost guaranteed, we'll have overcome it or going through it currently in our life too, so we can talk about our current experiences with it. Or, you know, for Eric, who's entrepreneurs, you know, he can talk about his experience in it too. So you know, we're also going to be bringing to the table some other people who have different backgrounds, but are also leveraging one of the things that Eric and I do together entrepreneurially is our shop.com franchise, unfranchised with shop.com online, which is a digital shopping franchise. And we're going to bring other people to the table who have successfully built out their own business from different backgrounds as well. So you can understand and see that these entrepreneurs have multiple streams of income, which is so important. But what's cool about it too is it relates to their personality. Like, you know, however you want to create your income can totally relate, and should totally relate, as you and I were talking about earlier, to what you're passionate about. Because it's easier to develop things and incomes that you're excited about and that are natural to you versus trying to force something, right? We were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. That's a really good lesson. So for people to take away for tonight is that if you are owning a business or you're starting a business, truthfully, your business shouldn't make you change too much of who you are to succeed. And if it does, that's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a real challenge. And so I think it's important. You're absolutely right. We talked a lot, Greg, a couple weeks ago about entrepreneurship that is you, right? Like, just it becomes you. It becomes kind of a lifestyle. That's sort of my favorite type of entrepreneurship, because it allows you to, instead of trying to work on your weaknesses, maximize your strengths.
Yeah.
So, and I've had tons of challenges over the years with that. Like, how do I do that, right? So it's a lot of it's hacking your way through and creating things, but I'm going to love to share how to get unstuck if you feel like you're unstuck, and stay in the passion and strength side of whatever it is that you do. So,
and I think what's important too, Eric, you mentioned it, and I think the word entrepreneurship scares people sometimes, because they think it's this like high level business, Mark Zuckerberg kind of person. An entrepreneur, as you and I were talking about not too long ago, is actually can also relate to somebody who's an employee at a company, and navigating your way and being an entrepreneur and creating your path through your passion in a company. And what's really cool, Eric, and we haven't talked too much about it specifically, but my own experience doing that at our architecture firm, going from studying architecture and the technical side of that world to me deciding that I hated that side of the world. I'm not technical oriented, but I'm design oriented and I'm human oriented. I love working with people. And so I started to carve out a niche through the company to now manage their marketing and the kind of their culture part of the company. And so that's something that I've navigated, and you can do that as an employee or as a self-employed person. So I think it's really important.
I'm glad Yeah, can I say something on that real quick? Was just you're
Absolutely.
absolutely right. Entrepreneurship to me is self-expression, and that's why it's
Mm.
become so popular today because we have tools like this here we didn't have 20, 30 years ago, right? So
Yeah.
you can express yourself in so many ways today as an entrepreneur that was really hard to do. But now you
Yeah.
can do it in a way where you can really do it in molding who you are and sort of be who you are, but express that. And one of the things that we'll talk about in one of the episodes is really, I call it, I didn't coin the term. The term came, I think it was from IBM back in the 70s or 80s, but like you were saying, intrapreneurship. It's really the
Yeah.
risk adverse person. It's the person that says, hey, I want my own business, but I do not want to go through, maybe they have a friend that has employees and overhead and a building and right and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I know what that's like having traditional businesses, and that's a tough road. So thank goodness today there are options, right? You don't have to do that. So there's the hardcore entrepreneur, like you said, the Steve Jobs, but then there's really the more practical, and what we're going to
Yeah.
focus more probably talking about is that intrapreneur, that person that's just taking their little feet and stepping into that entrepreneur world, flexing those muscles a little bit at a time, but they develop more and more confidence and they can do it on their own time. So that's important.
Totally.
And thank goodness
And I
we can
think
do that today.
it's so true. And I think what's evolved too is the word entrepreneurship. It existed, 150 plus years ago in the country when we built this country, and any other country when it starts. It's like you have all these little micro people who are doing a service, doing a trade, and that was how the
Mm,
economy was built originally, right? And then all of a sudden, education and school system comes into place, and they just squash the term entrepreneurship, and now you
totally.
become employees. So now the masses employees, but now entrepreneurship has become cool again because exactly what you said, it's expressing your personality and who
Yep.
you are and what you're passionate about, whether you're, tactical and you like doing things with your hands, or you're a great speaker, or you're creative, whatever it is.
Hmm.
It's kind of going back to our roots again, but what's even better today is, as you said, it's more accessible now because entrepreneurship can now be done digitally in different forms. It can be done for free out of your home. So it's kind of like all of those things that are great about entrepreneurship and are
Mm,
now at this point more accessible and a lot less, risk as adverse, as you would say. And
mm.
somebody can be, just starting out and being an employee while starting to kind of put their toes into it and starting to figure
Big
things
one.
out. Yeah.
That's a big one right there. Absolutely. You don't have to, the risk isn't there anymore. And that without
Yeah.
risk comes less stress.
Yeah.
And, it's like you can make better decisions. You can make more responsible decisions. But you're right. And you can live a more balanced. I mean, you can relate to that, right? You wear a lot of hats. It's very
Yeah.
impressive, right? You've got a successful job in corporate. You've got a successful businesses, right? You transition very well in that, but you have choices,
Yeah.
right? And it sounds like like you said, you've maximized your strengths in all those different areas, and
Right.
each role is a little bit different, right?
But it took time of
Mm,
being in that one place first and
yep.
then developing what I liked, and through trial and error, then creating some sort of vehicle that was in tune with. And it's funny enough because after all these, I'm actually finally starting to figure out how all the little pieces feel and come together as something that I'm inspired to do. Before, I actually
Mm,
was getting frustrated. A couple of years ago, I was frustrated with all the different hats that I wanted to wear, and I had no idea how they came together and why I wanted to do them. And now figuring things out and where they all kind of come together and where they're going to proceed and go, it's like they're all of the actions that I'm starting to take are based off of things that I'm passionate about versus before I was forcing some
mm.
things, as we were talking about. And so it feels like things are now, in the right momentum, which is exciting. So
That's fantastic, and that's a huge lesson that you can start to teach as we go through some of these episodes, and how important it is to be congruent with yourself and in alignment. Because when
yeah,
you feel out of that, it
100%.
affects you in so many ways, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
just can't
it
wait
becomes
to
frustrating.
find out. Yeah, it is. I know. I've been there too, and you feel like you feel like you're always frantic or something, right? Or you just feel like you're all over
Yep.
the place, and you're not really. being able to stick your teeth into something that you really know you should be doing. But I'm just really excited to find out how we can offer the most value on using this type of a medium and this platform.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, Greg, when I used to have my marketing agency, I was fortunate that I worked with so many different businesses, small
Yep.
and medium-sized businesses, so I could delve into almost like a scientist would go into different businesses, and I would help them grow their company or whatever. But it was cool because you could see total different markets. One day you're working with an engineering firm, the next day you're working with a chiropractor, right?
Yep.
But I also, yeah, and I used to do a lot of internet marketing stuff too. So I learned, though, I've heard enough in the thousands of people now where what you can pick out what is a very common challenge, what is a common frustration. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Doesn't matter. There's very specific things that tend to overwhelm people and cause a lack of clarity.
Totally.
But anyway, that's a lot of the stuff I can't wait to share is how to move through the clutter and make things easier. Make sense?
100%. So Eric, what are a couple of topics that we can kind of like just share with people that we're going to be hopefully bringing to the table in the next few months or whatever it's going to be, a few weeks? Just kind of give a few ideas of some of the topics that we're going to be covering and some of the thoughts that we're hoping to share with people that will connect and relate to those who are watching this.
Good question. I mean, my goodness, we have a whole list of stuff that we had over here. But I think for starters, how to get clear. Would that be a topic on?
Yeah.
What your main objectives are? I mean, really, meaning a big thing in success is just working out where am I at, what are my goals, and now how do I get from here to here in the fastest way possible, the most efficient way possible. So I love strategy, things like that. Also balance in life. I mean, balance in family, balance in business ownership, entrepreneurship. Also, just really though, keeping it very practical, very simple in terms of how to, a big thing you mentioned a few minutes ago, transition. How do you transition successfully and keep that energy? How about talk about sustaining your energy when you've got kids and you're rushing from here and then rushing from the job or rushing to your business. So about how to really make this work in a way that works for somebody, but doesn't overwhelm somebody. That makes sense? What are your thoughts? What are some ideas?
No, it's right on, because you know what's great is that it just happened practically too in my local real world situation here. You know, a colleague of mine that I've known for quite some time just did his transition. And so it's kind of a piece where he was in corporate world for a while. Before that, he was doing something else, and then basically evolved into this new role at a corporate job. And then alongside of that, had a hobby, but then also had another passion that he was kind of pursuing on the night hours, if you will. And that's evolved. And now he got to a point where he had to alleviate the larger portion of his day at the corporate job and then create a situation to where he was still, they basically offered him a part-time piece because they had value in him to want him to stay part-time and now give him the flexibility to run his company that he's now running full-time alongside of supporting the corporation he was with before and still doing his hobby again too. So it's about putting in the work for a period of time alongside it's late nights, it's early mornings, whatever it is. You get up early, get up at 5:30 if you get up at 7:30. Start getting up early. It sucks, but do it. You'll gain 2 hours a day, which is 10 hours a week if you're doing 5-day weeks, which is 40 hours by the end of the month, which means you have a whole week that you've just done extra if you get up 2 hours early. Quick nugget right there. So
huge nugget.
You know, absolutely. And
productivity too, right? Productivity. That would be definitely something to talk about.
Totally.
Because once you learn,
go ahead.
We all have 24 hours in a day, right? So why is it that some people are more efficient or effective, whatever that means, in what they're trying to accomplish in others? Why is that?
It's little differences. And I was talking about this topic recently with Crystal, my wife, between leadership and being a boss. It's a huge perception difference from somebody. If I'm looking at somebody and they're a boss versus a leader, it weighs heavily on my perception of them. However, for them to change from a boss to a leader, is a very small shift. And so it's these interesting things for us too, as we're making these decisions. It's small changes that make us different from, you know, what we want to be and from who we are currently. But from the outside, it's going to be a huge difference. Like if you start, like Eric, you start giving up going to your softball matches. You don't play softball, but let's just say you had softball each and every week that you go to, and you're dedicated to that team. All of a sudden, you cut that out of your life. It's going to be like this macro thing to your friends that you're not playing softball anymore. But to you, it's a small thing that you cut out an hour and a half of your week so you can do something else with that time. But it would be a huge change to the perception of your friends. So is that
and handling that,
you know,
handling them razzing you, right? And handling that's a big thing. The mental, emotional strength.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's a topic in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to make you question where you want to go and if you want to go against the grain, because part of that process of growth, whether it's health, you want to lose weight, whether it's financial, you want to earn more income, you're going to go against barriers that are going to tell you to stop doing and stop moving in that direction, because you're starting to make people and things around you uncomfortable because you're starting to make changes that they're not ready for.
No, and they may never be ready for it, right?
True.
It comes kind of revealing in your life when you start making big shifts and changes, and people around you aren't coming along for the ride. So, and peer pressure is a big thing. A lot of people live their life based on other people's opinions. That's a killer right there. So,
big time.
Huge.
So, as you guys can tell, we're both really excited to give you guys some great information and hopefully connect with you and share topics and share information, share our experiences about the topics that you guys want us to talk about. So please, please, please comment below after this video as well goes live. It ends going live. So that way we can hopefully read your comments, see what you guys are having challenges with in life, in family matters, in, you know, you can private message us as well if it's something a little more personal. Happy to help, give guidance, and hopefully use this platform, Facebook Live, to share with you some tactics, some things that we've used, things that we've done. We're also going to pull some people in. I just reached out to somebody, Eric, who's a fitness trainer, awesome friend that I grew up with. He's got a great morning routine and mental routine of how he starts his days. And so just sharing some of those thoughts with people too, of like, how do you start your day to make sure that every day you're putting your best foot forward before you go out and life hits you with all the stuff that it hits you with. Getting your mind right first, right?
The health side too, right? You got to be healthy too. That's the energy side. Yeah. I think the most important thing, Greg, is for anyone watching this, you know, now and definitely the replay, is please post your comments. Let us know what you like about these topics and this sort of the theme of what we're going to be doing here and how we can help. What do you want to talk about? What can we bring to, because there's a very good chance we've probably gone through it, or we have somebody that we know has that we can bring on that can talk 100%. To it, right? And it could be just a great place for people to feel safe and learn a lot. After they get off, go, I feel better now, right? Yep. Not, oh man, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So, yeah.
So
awesome.
This is excellent, guys. Thank you so much for jumping on. Those who are here live with us currently as well, those who jumped on earlier, thank you for being with us. Like I said, hopefully we can come to you each and every week and bring you guys value. If it's not for you that week, tune in the next week because we're going to have a great topic the following week as well. And if there's something you want us to cover, we'd love to do that. Yes, thank you, Crystal. Same day each and every week, Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, because we're on the East Coast. We'll be having these sessions each and every week. We may be together, we may be split screen, we may be somewhere across the world, but we're going to be having these going on every Tuesday night for you guys as best as we can here to make sure we're being faithful to you all and connecting with you guys each and every week. But happy to do that and happy to change our topics based off of what you guys are looking for. We really want it to be about you and what you guys are going through. So connect with us on Facebook, connect with Eric Henderson on Facebook as well if you're not friends with him yet. And share this if you'd like. If you know somebody who's, you know, entrepreneurial, going through life, or wants to be entrepreneurial, or they're, you know, just, you know, a business owner now and starting to get started, you know, share this video with them, share this on Facebook. We'd love to kind of connect with other people and help them along their journey as well. And hopefully this is valuable for you guys tonight. But we'll thank you again for jumping on. And Eric, any last thoughts? Or
no, you said it all. I'm just excited. Thanks everybody for joining us. you let us talk about what we talk about anyway. Now we can just talk about it with a bigger audience. So it's fun. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
looking forward to next Tuesday.
Thanks, Mike. I'm glad you liked it.
Awesome,
All right, guys. You guys have a fantastic night. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you later.